Welcome to Millennium News Hour. I am Tanzeeba Naurin. In today's bulletin, we will present top and trending news from across the nation and the world. Let's begin with the headlines of the day. US warns ships to stay out of parts of Red Sea as Houthi rebels vow retaliation for US-UK strikes. Support for Houthi, US sanctions Hong Kong, UAE firms. US opens safety investigation into Boeing after Alaska Airlines blowout. US imposes sanctions over transfer of North Korean missiles to Russia. Biden announces fresh wave of early student debt cancellation for some borrowers. Bomb cyclone brings sub-zero conditions and warnings to millions. Oil prices soar after US-UK strikes against Iran-backed Houthi rebels. Russia accuses US and UK of destructive escalation in Yemen. Britain's Prime Minister is in Ukraine to offer aid and reassurance of West support against Moscow. Netflix removes Indian film with meat-eating scene after Hindu backlash. Barcelona lose Rafinha to hamstring injury. And NBA fines Toronto Raptors coach $25,000 after he called officiating BS and a shame. You are listening to Headlines Now News in detail. The US Navy on Friday warned American-flagged vessels to stay out of areas around Yemen in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden for the next 72 hours after the US and Britain launched multiple airstrikes targeting Houthi rebels. The warning in a notice to shippers came as Yemen's Houthis vowed fierce retaliation for the US-led strikes, further raising the prospect of a wider conflict in a region already beset by Israel's war in Gaza. The White House said the US expects the Houthis to try to strike back. Nobody was Pollyannish about the possibility that they might conduct some sort of retaliation, National Security Council spokesman John Kirby said. He added, "This wasn't some signaling exercise. This was designed to disrupt and degrade Houthi military capabilities." The US-led bombardment launched in response to a recent campaign of drone and missile attacks on commercial ships in the vital Red Sea killed at least 5 people and wounded 6, the Houthis said. The US said the strikes took aim at more than 60 targets in 16 different locations across Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen. As the bombing lit the pre-dawn sky over multiple sites held by the Iranian-backed rebels, it forced the world to again focus on Yemen's years-long war, which began when the Houthis seized the country's capital. Washington announced new sanctions on 2 companies in Hong Kong and the United Arab Emirates, moving to crack down on the financial network funding Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen. The move comes hours after US and UK forces launched strikes against the Houthi rebels, seeking to halt their repeated attacks on shipping in the Red Sea. The Houthis' attacks, which the group says are in protest at Israel's war against Hamas, has forced cargo ships to avoid the Suez Canal, one of the world's busiest shipping routes. The 2 companies designated by the US Treasury Department were Hong Kong-based CLO Maritime, and UAE-based Global Tech Marine Services. They were said to have shipped Iranian commodities on behalf of the network of Houthi financial facilitator Said Al-Jamal, said the Treasury. The revenue from the commodity sales supports the Houthis and their continued attacks against international shipping in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. The department added in a statement, "We will take all available measures to stop the destabilizing activities of the Houthis and their threats to global commerce," said Brian Nelson, Treasury Undersecretary for Terrorism and Financial Intelligence. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration is launching a formal investigation into aircraft manufacturer Boeing after a cabin panel blowout on an Alaska Airlines-operated 737 MAX 9 jet last week forced an emergency landing. This incident should have never happened and it cannot happen again, the FAA said in a statement on Thursday, after a panel known as a door plug blew out of the plane, causing a gaping hole shortly after takeoff from the western U.S. state of Oregon. There were no fatalities or serious injuries after Alaska Airlines safely executed an emergency landing in the January 5 incident, but investigators with the National Transportation Safety Board have said the incident could have resulted in serious harm. The FAA probe, which could result in a financial penalty on Boeing, marks an escalation by the agency following the first major in-flight safety issue on a Boeing plane since the fatal 2018 and 2019 737 MAX crashes that killed 346 people and led to all aircraft being grounded for nearly 2 years. The FAA also said it was investigating additional discrepancies on other Boeing 737-9 airplanes, according to a letter to the company that gave it 10 days to respond. This refers to reports from Alaska and United Airlines of loose hardware on delivered planes found in preliminary investigations of the jets. The United States has imposed sanctions on 3 Russian entities and 1 individual allegedly involved in the transfer and testing of North Korea's ballistic missiles for alleged use by Moscow in its war against Ukraine. The move comes after Washington and its allies criticized the exchange of arms between North Korea and Russia. The U.S. government denounced Russia's accusation of North Korean ballistic missiles and specified they were deployed against Ukraine on December 30 and January 2. The DPRK's transfer of ballistic missiles to Russia supports Russia's war of aggression, increases the suffering of the Ukrainian people, and undermines the global non-proliferation regime, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said in a statement on Thursday, using the official acronym for North Korea, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. "We will not hesitate to take further actions," he said. Since the start of the Ukraine conflict in February 2022, Moscow and Pyongyang have developed closer ties but have denied engaging in any arms deals. President Joe Biden announced Friday that federal student debt will be wiped out for certain borrowers who took out relatively small loans and have been in repayment for the past decade. Borrowers who received less than $12,000 in federal loans and have been paying off their balances for at least 10 years will get their remaining student debt cancelled immediately in February, Biden said in a statement. He said that the move comes nearly 6 months ahead of schedule and that it applies to borrowers enrolled in the new income-driven repayment plan known as SAVE, which administration officials touted in recent months as a way to help lower their monthly payments. While 30 million people are eligible for the SAVE plan, Biden said Friday that 6.9 million are currently enrolled. It was not immediately clear how many borrowers would be affected by the cancellation effort. This action will particularly help community college borrowers, low-income borrowers, and those struggling to repay their loans, Biden said in his statement. Many borrowers began repaying federal student loans in October after a pause of more than 3 years. An intense blast of cold weather described as a bomb cyclone is expected to hit across the United States into the weekend and early next week. Every state across the lower 48 has some form of weather warning today, with high wind alerts affecting 145 million people and winter storm warnings effective for 56 million. It marks the first significant Arctic outbreak of the winter and is expected to move from the northern Rockies and the plains further south and east through the Midwest this weekend. The National Weather Service warned that temperatures would turn dangerously cold. By tomorrow morning, temperatures in the -20s Fahrenheit, -30s, and as low as -40 are forecast for the northern plains. Some areas could see low records broken over the weekend and into next week. Temperatures for the first in the nation Iowa caucuses Monday are set to be the coldest in the contest's modern history, with a forecast high temperature of around 0 degrees in Des Moines. Survivors have described being buried by an avalanche at a ski slope in Tahoe, California, that killed one man earlier this week, and another man is missing and presumed dead after an avalanche in Idaho yesterday, where two others were rescued and are recovering, authorities said. A national overnight low of -23 was recorded near Polbridge, Montana, around 1 a.m. ET today. We will be back after a short break. Till then, stay with us. This world continuously revolving around various events. Every minute, every second, something is happening somewhere around the globe, and you want to get connected to that event or to that specific moment. Here we come, Millennium News Hour, to get you connected with top USA and international trending news, which includes local news, political news, world news, business news, health and science related news, entertainment news, sports news, and so on. Millennium News 24 is transmitted and available to be watched free for all at TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV, and Apple TV, and also in all European countries and Australia, available with Sky Network, Worldwide Jago TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BT Network, and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with Millennium News Hour to get the world news on your fist. Welcome back to Millennium News Hour. Now it's time for global updates. Oil prices surged 4% on Friday after US and UK forces launched strikes against Iran-backed Houthi rebels following their attacks on ships in the Red Sea, fueling worries about a wider conflict in the crude-rich region. Tokyo and European stock markets ended the week with strong gains as traders brushed off data showing US inflation rose more than expected in December. Wall Street had ended flat on Thursday, while the dollar was closing the week with gains against the euro. Ahead of annual earnings from top US banks, focus was on the luxury sector after British fashion brand Burberry posted a profit warning, sending its share price sliding more than 9%, nearing the halfway stage in London. That fed through to peers, with Gucci owner Kering losing 1.7% in Paris, where LVMH was down 1.4%. The oil market was in sharp focus as US and British forces struck rebel-held Yemen on Friday after weeks of attacks on Red Sea shipping by the Iran-backed Houthis, who say they are acting in solidarity with Palestinians in war-ravaged Gaza. Russia on Friday condemned strikes by the United States and Britain targeting Houthi rebels in Yemen as an escalation with destructive objectives. The US strikes on Yemen are a new example of disinformation by the Anglo-Saxons and a total violation of international law aimed at an escalation in the region to attain their destructive objectives, Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said on Telegram. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak unveiled new military funding for Ukraine on Friday during a visit to Kiev aimed at reassuring the country that the West is still providing support nearly 23 months after Russia's invasion. The package, worth £2.5 billion over the next fiscal year, is the largest the UK has provided to Ukraine since the war began, surpassing previous annual commitments by £200 million, the British government said. "I am here today with one message. The UK will also not falter," Sunak said. "We will stand with Ukraine in their darkest hours and in the better times to come." The package will pay for long-range missiles, thousands of drones, air defense, artillery ammunition, and maritime security, according to Sunak's office. It comes at a time when other financial aid from the US and Europe is tied up by political wrangling. Kiev has been urging the West to send more of that kind of aid as the grinding war brings little change along the front line and both sides turn to long-range strikes. Sunak said he made Ukraine his first foreign trip of the year to send a strong signal of support, representing the seriousness of the situation here and our determination to stand with Ukraine amid competing claims for international attention. Netflix has removed an Indian-language film from its platform after the movie faced a backlash on social media for depicting the daughter of a Hindu priest eating meat. Hindus are India's largest religious grouping, and Hindu priests, as well as their families, are typically vegetarian. Annapurani, the Goddess of Food, a Tamil language film that was released in theaters in December and aired on Netflix later the same month, was no longer available on the international streaming platform as of Thursday. On Wednesday, protesters from the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, a hardline Hindu organization with ties to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Bharatiya Janata Party, shouted slogans against Netflix and the movie at the company's Mumbai office, according to a post on X by VHP spokesperson Sriraj Nair. The film depicts the daughter of a Hindu temple priest in the southern Indian state of Tamil Nadu eating meat and later entering a high-stakes cooking contest where she cooks meat. This film is intentionally released to hurt Hindu sentiments, Ramesh Solanki, who described himself as the head of an organization called Hindu IT Cell, said on X, formerly known as Twitter. Solanki said he had filed a complaint to Mumbai's police about the film, listing several scenes which he said were offensive to Hindus. We will have a short break. Till then, stay with us. This world continuously revolving around various events. Every minute, every second, something is happening somewhere around the globe, and you want to get connected to that event or to that specific moment. Here we come, Millennium News Hour, to get you connected with top USA and international trending news, which includes local news, political news, world news, business news, health and science related news, entertainment news, sports news, and so on. Millennium News 24 is transmitted and available to be watched free for all at TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV, and Apple TV, and also in all European countries and Australia, available with Sky Network, Worldwide Jago TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BD Network, and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with Millennium News Hour to get the world news on your fist. Welcome back to Millennium News Hour. Now it's time for business news. Today's New York stock close price is 16,781.12. The NYSE Composite is decreased by 37.76 points or 0.22%. Tokyo stock close price is 35,577.11. The Nikkei 225 index is increased by 527.56 0.25 points or 1.50%. Shanghai stock close price is 2,881.98. The Shanghai index is decreased by 4.67 points or 0.16%. Hong Kong stock close price is 16,244.58. The Hang Seng index is decreased by 57.46 points or 0.35%. Bombay stock close price is 72,568.45. The Sensex index is increased by 847.27 points or 1.18%. Let's have a look on today's sports stories. Barcelona winger Rafinha is facing another period on the sidelines after the club revealed he was suffering from a new hamstring injury. Tests carried out today have shown that Rafinha has a left hamstring injury, Barcelona said on X, formerly known as Twitter. He is out and his recovery will determine his availability. The Brazilian was injured late in the first half of Thursday's Spanish Super Cup semi-final against Osasuna in Riyadh and had to be replaced in the 42nd minute by Lamine Yamal. He had injured a right hamstring injury in the league match against Sevilla on September 29. As a result, the 27-year-old has made just 15 appearances for Barca this season in La Liga and 3 in the Champions League. Toronto coach Darko Rakovic was fined $25,000 by the NBA on Thursday, 2 days after he ranted about officiating following his team's 132-131 loss to the Los Angeles Lakers. Rakovic took particular exception to how the Lakers got 23 free throws in the fourth quarter while the Raptors shot only 2. The 21 free throw disparity was the largest for any quarter of an NBA game this season. For the game, the Lakers took 36 free throws, 14 by Anthony Davis alone, and the Raptors took only 13. Let's have a look on today's weather forecast. Before finishing today's news, let's hear out the headlines again. US warns ships to stay out of parts of Red Sea as Houthi rebels vow retaliation for US-UK strikes. Support for Houthi, US sanctions Hong Kong, UAE firms. US opens safety investigation into Boeing after Alaska Airlines blowout. US imposes sanctions over transfer of North Korean missiles to Russia. Biden announces fresh wave of early student debt cancellation for some borrowers. Bomb cyclone brings sub-zero conditions and warnings to millions. Oil prices soar after US-UK strikes against Iran-backed Houthi rebels. Russia accuses US and UK of destructive escalation in Yemen. Britain's Prime Minister is in Ukraine to offer aid and reassurance of West support against Moscow. Netflix removes Indian film with meat-eating scene after Hindu backlash. Barcelona lose Rafinha to hamstring injury. And NBA fines Toronto Raptors coach $25,000 after he called officiating BS and a shame. That's all for today. Keep watching Millennium News Hour for latest news update. To stay updated, like our Facebook page, subscribe our YouTube channel and visit our website. Our website address is www.millenniumnews24.com. Millennium News 24 is transmitted and available to be watched free for all at TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV and Apple TV. And also in all European countries and Australia available with the Sky Network, Worldwide Jadoo TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BD Network and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with us for all the latest news worldwide. Thank you.